Hi friends. In today's video we are going to talk about the inspiring life story of the co-founder of King Games, who famously created the popular game series called Candy Crush. Riccardo Zacconi is an Italian businessman and CEO of King Games, a company he founded in 2003. King is the developer of the popular mobile app game series called Candy Crush. Zacconi was born in 1967 and was raised in Rome, Italy. He spent time at his father's dental practice after high school. He attended Libera University and graduated in 1993 with a bachelor's degree in economics. After completing his studies at the university, his first career role was as a consultant for LEK Consulting. Zacconi worked there from 1991 to 1993. Zacconi also worked as a project manager at Boston Consulting Group between 1993 and 1999. It is at this point that the entrepreneur journey of Zacconi began. At the start of the dot-com boom in 1999, Zacconi joined the Swedish online messaging startup Spray. In 2001, he left Spray and moved to the UK as entrepreneur in residence for Benchmark Capital. After that he founded his main company, which has grown into one of the most successful mobile gaming businesses worldwide. Riccardo Zacconi's business nearly went bankrupt in 2003. The dot-com bubble had burst. Zacconi had put all of his money into his startup gaming company Midas Player, and he and his co-founders had spent the year trying and failing to find investment. It was just before Christmas and they needed to find the money before the holidays or they would have to shut the company down. Then one investor who gave Midas Player a lifeline was Zacconi's former boss Mel Morris, the founder of Udate. But for Morris to make the cash available, his trustees had to give permission, and there was no sign of the paperwork coming through. It got to Christmas Eve and Zacconi thought he would have to abandon the business. Zacconi told I had a flight booked in the evening to fly back to Italy. And the signed papers with the financing had still not arrived. So we would have had to sign to shut down the company that day. I will never forget. I was physically on the floor, sitting on the floor with my co-founder. We were destroyed. And suddenly we heard that a fax was coming through. And in the middle of the fax machine broke down. So we bought a new fax machine. The contract was signed. And we could continue. After finally securing funding from Morris on Christmas Eve 2003, Midas Player went on to develop more than 200 games. Their initial idea was to organize competitions where people would compete against others for free or for a small fee. And there would be one level only in a game. And the person who would complete this one level with the highest score would win the tournament. The company ran its games on Yahoo and AOL to start with, testing them out on the platforms to see what became popular, and by 2005 it had enough money to buy the domain name King.com from an English teacher named Peter King and rebranded the whole company that same year. They made Peter King an offer and they paid him $200,000 at that time. In 2007, Facebook opened up to games developers and King assigned 6 or 7 people, out of around 100 staff, to experiment on the platform. But it took more than 2 years to crack Facebook. In 2009 Zynga Company launched a game, which became incredibly popular, called Farmville. And that's the year where Facebook also started growing massively. And so, between April of 2009 and a year later, Facebook impacted one of our biggest partners, Yahoo, in an incredible way. We were the key partner of Yahoo Games. Zacconi described that period as the most stressful time in my life, as he had to manage the expectations of investors and the board as well as employees. Knutson was the CCO of King.com. He invented the idea for the Candy Crush game in his bath. Earlier Zacconi had challenged Knutson to come up with a match 3 type of a game for their next gaming project. And he wanted to make the game based on readily available items already created by his company. Knutson told, most of the games before had had jewels or precious metals, but not things you see in everyday life. And I felt like, let's base it on candy. Something people naturally are attracted to. They look pretty. They're edible. And it's something that everybody sees. And it made the game stand out in the market. Candy Crush Saga is free to play and gamers are assigned 5 lives. If someone doesn't manage to get through a level, they lose 1 life, and once they've lost all 5, players have to either wait 20 minutes for the game to restart or pay 99 cents. Candy Crush Saga was launched online at the start of 2012 and on Facebook later that year. But after rival Zynga launched a competing game on Facebook, it hit King hard. For the first time, we saw our users going down and our revenues going down, as said by Zacconi. It wasn't until King launched Candy Crush Saga on mobile that the number of users soared. King had designed the game to be accessible across multiple platforms, which meant that players could jump into the game seamlessly between their desktops and mobile devices. And it was this cross-platform strategy that fueled the game's success. We launched the game in November 2012. And by the end of the month, the game skyrocketed. I never experienced anything like that my whole life, according to Zacconi. Their users went up like a rocket. They had a board meeting in October of 2012 where they defined the plan and the budget for the entire following year, 2013. And by the end of November, they had already achieved the entire plan for the following year. Only in its first year alone. Candy Crush Saga was downloaded more than 500 million times on Facebook, iOS, and Android, and it was reportedly making more than $600,000 a day via in-app purchases. Now that figure is more than 5,000. In May 2019, it was announced that Zacconi would step down as CEO of King, handing the role over to Riccardo Zacconi, who had become its president in January. Zacconi is now the company's chair and earned around $19.8 million in 2018, including bonuses and stock option awards. And Riccardo Zacconi's attitude to risk in general? If you have a passion, if you have a desire, the only risk in life is not to try to pursue it. That's it, guys. Did you enjoy our video? If yes, then please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like.